What is going on today? Man, it's so nice. Like, I feel like this is the first time I've taken a walk in 6 months that I haven't had to be all bundled up and wearing a sweatshirt and stuff. It is like 70 plus degrees for me. So holy cow, I'm out here just enjoying myself. And today I wanted to talk about a little bit different topic. It's not personal development. Just unplug myself. Hold on. Technical difficulties. All right, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. I hope that doesn't unplug my audio. But today, yes, I am not actually talking to you about how to change your perception, but maybe a little bit. Today's topic is one that still is just blowing my mind, first of all, that people don't know anything about it, and it is the term Bitcoin. So if you guys are watching this and you know what Bitcoin is, put hashtag Bitcoin in the comments for me, because I don't know who I'm talking to a lot of times with this stuff. I feel like it's been around for so long that it's kind of common knowledge, but I can't tell you the number of times I have run into people and asked them, hey, do you have Bitcoin? And they're like, what is it? What the hell are you even talking about? Like, some people have never even heard of Bitcoin before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down really basically. I am not a financial expert. I am not giving anyone financial advice in this. What I'm telling you is what I know, what my experience is, and if this is something that you're into, there's a link in here, appcashbtc.com, that you can follow some steps that I'm using myself to be able to get in on this and you know, create some financial income in various ways. All right, so number one, what is Bitcoin? Okay, this is a little bit complicated, so follow along with me here. Once I explain it, hopefully it makes a little bit more sense. So, in the real world, stuff is bought and sold every day. Most of the time, that happens in a digital way, where if you use a debit card or a credit card or any form of digital money, those are digital versions of money. It is not a currency that you pay a piece of paper to somebody else in exchange for a good or service. It is you giving them a digital version of your money in exchange for their hard service, hard currency, hard product, whatever it may be, okay? So there's a transaction that happens. Now, when that digital transaction happens, it needs to be verified. This is all you have to understand. The verification has a computer math problem that has to be solved. We call these an algorithm. Now, hopefully I haven't lost you yet, but when a computer solves that algorithm and it verifies that real world transaction happened and the digital currency from your end was transferred to the seller, the reward that is created for solving that algorithm is a currency they call Bitcoin. All right, so if you understand what I'm talking about, give me a yes in the comments. So now that we understand the idea of how Bitcoin is created, it is a verification reward for solving a computer algorithm that verifies a real world transaction. Mr. Martinez, what's going on, my man? All right, so Caroline, how we doing? So today we're talking Bitcoin. If you guys do not know what Bitcoin is, I just explained what it is. It's basically a reward for computers that are verifying real-world transactions, okay? That's essentially what it is. Now, this is one version of what we call cryptocurrency. It's a digital currency. So the dollar was essentially put together as a hard piece of paper, a physical, tangible thing that was exchanged in a barter system. But once banks had the ability to collect your money and create a card that you could verify that, yes, I have a certain amount of this said currency, I gave them my dollars, my physical paper money at the bank, and they gave me credit in their digital system. The internet allows for all this stuff to happen. You can go out and exchange that digital representation of your money for goods and services in the real world, okay? So that's why we call it a digital currency. It's the same thing with real money. This is just another version of it that's called Bitcoin. All right, now, this was very, very, very new age when it came about. Back in 2008, a unknown person named Satoshi Nakamoto, and we don't even know if it's a person, it could be a group of people, not real sure. I'm holding up traffic here, I'm gonna get across the street. This person or entity created this reward system that was verified through a collection of computers that all of them connected in, and the collection of all of their power and storage is what is called the blockchain. This is the storage purpose, the storage place for all of the information around these verification of transactions, okay? So a lot of this is all kind of technical, but what it comes down to is Bitcoin is a reward for people that are verifying these transactions, okay? So if you have been in the world and you have heard of something called Bitcoin mining, the mining is when the computers solve these algorithms. That's what they're doing, is they purposely are using their hardware and their storage and their memory and their power and everything that they do to solve these algorithms for the purpose of obtaining the Bitcoin. This is mining it out. Now, when this was created, I have to tell you guys, this was one of the most ingenious setups in existence today. This is I can't even say one, this is the most finite and valuable resource that exists in the world today, is Bitcoin. Now, since Bitcoin, there's been hundreds and thousands of cryptocurrencies, digital currencies that have been spun off as other versions that do different things, okay? But Bitcoin was the first, and that's why it's become so big. Now, what the stats are around this Bitcoin, this is where it becomes really exciting. When this was created, there was a finite amount that was created. There are only 21 million that will ever exist. No more can ever be created. This was all done in the original setup of this reward system. Now, 21 million may sound like a lot. It's not, okay? If you look at dollars alone, dollars are one type of currency. In the world, there are about $130 trillion worth of money. 130 trillion, not billion, not million, trillion. So that is essentially 130 billion millions. So if you were a millionaire and you had $1 million, that means that there are 130 billion people that could have the exact same amount of money as you. We only have 8 billion people in the world. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how much dollars are in existence. Bitcoin, there is only 21 million that exist, period. And they cannot make more. Dollars, our government, they just printed $3 trillion worth of brand new bills and shoved them into the market because they thought it was going to be a good economic stimulus. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not here to debate that. But what I'm talking about is Bitcoin is finite, okay? You cannot create more. So every piece that exists is valuable. Now, it is broken down into smaller parts that are called Satoshis. So this is the micro pieces. This is like the pennies. I'm not going to get into the math behind this, but there are only 21 million full coins that exist today. Starting in 2008, they started to be mined. As soon as it came onto the market, this transaction verification process started happening, and people started getting rewarded with these Bitcoin. The way that it's set up today is it is very much more profitable to purchase the hardware, run your equipment, pay for the power, do all the stuff because of the value of the reward that you get. It costs you less to do the action than what you get as a reward. Now, there's so many people that are making money off of this profit-wise that it's very, very difficult to get into now. The hardware is almost untouchable. It's very difficult to get in that side. But you have the ability to simply buy them if you want, okay? Now, when it first started out, the value of a single Bitcoin was literally pennies. Pennies. And as more of them became available, and as the reward became less and less, because there is a bunch of math I don't want to go into around it, it became harder and harder to get, okay? And if you understand economics, when supply goes down, price goes up. And when demand goes up, price also goes up. So as the availability for people to mine them went away every single time one was mined out, the price increased. And now as people have not only figured out that there is value behind these, but there is transactional situations where you can buy and sell stuff within the use of Bitcoins, the demand for them has gone up. So in 2008, you could get them for pennies. You could physically buy them or you could mine them, but they were worth pennies. They stayed at a very low price for many, many years. They were less than $100 a piece for, gosh, I don't even know how long. So I was not introduced to Bitcoin until about early 2017. So it took almost 10 years for me to even find out about this and what it was. And I was still skeptical at that point. But even by 2017, almost 10 years later, it had risen to the point where when I was introduced in June, they were worth about $2,000 for one Bitcoin. 10 years earlier, they were like pennies. Okay, so long story short, in 2017 was when the big rush of exposure to Bitcoin started happening, where people started to hear about it and they wanted to get in on the value. And there was a hyper buying period. They call this a bull run. This is where a whole bunch of people were just getting in on the possibility of what could be. And they purchased a bunch. And because that supply went away in availability, the price shot up. And the price went all the way to over $19,000 by the end of November, December, I don't remember the exact month, of 2017. Now, because it went from a $2,000 range up to a $19,000 range, holy crap, were people making a 10x evaluation on what they had invested. Whether you bought a part of a Bitcoin or 10 of them or 100, it didn't really matter. You got a return on investment that was based on percentage, not a dollar amount, okay? So people started selling them like crazy, and it dumped the price all the way, dropped back down to $6,000. It went from 19 to 6 in like a blink of an eye. The market crashed on it because people cashed out and were just absolute millionaires. Now, that's okay. This is all just like buy and sell, investment, and, profit and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm talking about is a bigger picture. Okay? Now, today is 2021. We're talking over 3 years later since it hit that high of 19,000. And in the time from 2008 until today, of the 21 million that exist, about 18.6, 18.7, I don't know the exact number, about 18.5 million have been mined out. This is those computers verifying those transactions and getting rewarded with Bitcoin. Now, if I've lost you, I'm sorry. Let me know in the comments if this isn't making sense, but I'm telling you guys, this is becoming a thing that is still brand new, yet on a huge scale. So as of today, most of the Bitcoin has been mined out. There's still a couple million that's accessible, and those are going to continue to be acquired by whoever has this hardware that is able to verify these transactions and earn their Bitcoins, right? You don't have to do that, all right? You can simply buy them. And what I want you guys to understand is supply will never increase. demand will increase based on several things. The very first time we saw a huge spike in price in 2017 was based on assumption and hype, where people were excited about the possibility of value. It didn't actually mean it was value, it was just people thought it was going to be valuable, and so as people bought it and less could be purchased, the price became more expensive. But then as soon as everybody sold it out, the price dropped. So now, the price was very low comparatively with the high, and it ranged anywhere from 6,000 up to about 10,000 in September of 2020. It was about $10,000 per Bitcoin. Now, if you came in when I came in and it was $2,000, if you would have bought a full Bitcoin for $2,000 and held it until September of last year, that's a 5x return on your money. That's a 500% return. That's insane value, first of all, okay? But there are 3 phases that we are going through that we're about a little into the second phase. We're approaching the third phase here, and so I'm going to explain this real quick for you guys. Phase 1 was legitimacy. Is this real? That's the question that people were asking when Bitcoin first came out. Because when it was created, unless you could sell it back or use it to buy something, people were like, what am I going to do with this? Now I've spent my currency dollars on this, or I've mined it out and done whatever. How can I get a value out of this? Is this real? Is this going to go away? Whatever. There was a lot of questions around legitimacy. And so if you've ever heard of the dark web, that was kind of the first place where this Bitcoin could be used transactionally. All right? And so that was kind of the first step to say, yes, there is a purpose to having it. People were able to get it, and then they were actually able to start doing something with it. But buying illegal drugs on an underground market is not really the goal for everybody, okay? So once the transactions happened enough times, and that was not the only place, but that was the main first starter. And I apologize if it's windy, I'm out here walking in the real world. But once phase 1 kind of ended, we got into phase 2, which was acceptance. And this is where investment started to happen. When there were enough people who had gone through the sketchy part of it, that said, is this real? Is it going to be accepted anywhere? Does it have a physical usage? Is it valuable in any way? Once that was confirmed, then you started to get people who were a little bit more edgy involved. Some of the people who were willing to put their money into the investment side of things and said, if I buy this at $100 or if I buy this at $1,000 and it increases a certain amount and I can sell it, I've made a profit. They didn't purchase it with the intention for usage. It was an investment vehicle where they can expand what their actual value was. So this is phase 2, and we're still borderlining the end of phase 2 now. So you gotta realize this has been around for 12, 13 years already. And this is why it's so crazy for me to talk to people. And again, guys, I am like this much education on this compared to what is really out there. But talking to people that have never even heard of it, let alone have any idea what the hell it is just mind-blowing for me. But there have been enough verifications that have happened that this is legitimate, and yes, you can use it for other transactional buying powers, that investors on a big scale have come into the picture. And what we are looking at now is a $1 trillion market cap. What that means is there has been over $1 trillion worth of real world money that has been used to purchase Bitcoin. Now, remember when I just told you there is only $130 trillion that exist in the world. 1 trillion of that, holy crap, that's like almost 1% of the entire world's money that has been now invested into Bitcoin. And this is only one currency. There are thousands of other cryptocurrencies. So hopefully you're starting to understand the finite amount of this and the traction that is being gained around this, okay? If you look at real estate, I'm out here in farmland. This is probably a 300 or 400 acre farm right here. Once all of the real estate is purchased, you can't make more land. That's why the value of land is going up as it's being developed, because there's less and less that's available. And so you have to pay more to get into it when you're later on. So in the beginning, when there was millions and millions that were still available to be mined, and there was not really that much acceptance and people weren't really looking for it, the demand was low, man, you could get it for dirt cheap. But now that it has come through the verification purposes, the big dogs are getting in play, all right? Now, when I say big dogs, we're talking like Elon Musk. If you don't know who Elon Musk is, man, I'm probably talking to the wrong people right here, but he owns Tesla and PayPal and SpaceX, very huge companies. As of this week, PayPal announced that you can now transact for purchases on PayPal using Bitcoin. Guys, this is the third phase, is usage. When people use this currency instead of the alt form of currency, which we call fiat, which is the dollars or the yen or the francs or the yuan or the rupees or whatever currency it is where you live in the world, all of these outside currencies can now be exchanged to purchase a digital currency that is universal around the world, and it's called Bitcoin. And you can exchange that Bitcoin through PayPal to buy anything that you want. Visa, the credit cards, guys, Visa is now moving towards the usage of Bitcoin instead of dollars. Holy cow. If you have a credit card in your pocket, it's probably one of the big two, MasterCard or Visa. Most likely it's a Visa. So if you still are not understanding how big this is getting, okay, let me throw some numbers at you. September of last year, Bitcoin was worth about $10,000 per coin. That's for one coin. You can buy them in pieces or you can buy them in whole ones, whatever you want to do. It depends on how much money you have to spend, okay? But now that the big investors have started to pay attention, they are buying it up in massive amounts. And not only is it investors, but it is financial institutions. For example, the stock markets and the retirement accounts and the investment bureaus, Edward Jones, these are huge players in the financial world, are purchasing massive amounts. Elon Musk alone purchased $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And as of within the last month, Tesla announced that you can now purchase Tesla products using Bitcoin. Not with dollars, you can still use dollars, but they're also accepting Bitcoin. And the reason that they want to buy it now is so that when people give them Bitcoin for stuff, they can give them back Bitcoin. And when they get Bitcoin given to them as a transactional currency, they get to hold it. They get to keep it in their pocket. And guys, this massive adoption and this massive purchase that we have seen has raised the price of Bitcoin from September of 2020 to today, it's over $60,000. It might be high 59 or something like that, but oh my gosh, it's gone up by 6 times in value in 6 months. Now, I'm very much excited about this because I already own some Bitcoin, but we are still at a very small adoption place. It is the people who are at the beginning. It is the people who are willing to invest in money that could possibly go away. There is no real limitation on how much you can get right now. You can buy as much as you want, essentially, based on how many dollars you have. So if you want to buy a whole Bitcoin right now and you've got $59,000 sitting in your bank account, you can make that exchange through these exchange wallets, is what they're called. They're exchange forums or companies. So one of the big ones that I use is called Cash App. So this is an application on my phone that I can go on there and I can hook it up to my bank account and I can pull money from my digital, numbers in my bank account and transfer it over and get an equivalent amount of value in Bitcoin. So in the title here, I have a link where you can go get this. It's AppCash BTC, AppCashBTC.com. Okay, there's instructions there. It makes it real basic, but the question that I asked, first of all, in this Facebook Live is, what is Bitcoin? Hopefully I've explained that enough that you understand what that is. My second question was, am I too late to get rich? Okay, so if you started anywhere back in the late 2000s and you purchased some Bitcoin, if you still had all of that you purchased, the value of it today has gone up so much that you are probably rich. But if you are looking for a way to start investing today, there are still massive amounts of opportunity for you to make money based on the projections. And again, I'm putting this disclaimer out here. I'm not telling you you're going to get rich. I have no guarantees. I don't control this. What I'm telling you is what information I have based on my own experience and learning. So if you come in today and you want to purchase a full Bitcoin, you're going to have about $60,000 worth of this currency. Because every day it's getting mined, more and more is being pulled out and is being held by other people and is into the accessibility of transactions, that supply is going away. It's finite. You can't make more. You can only get what's out there, okay? The expectation for value by the end of this year alone, 2021, is to be well over $100,000 per coin. This is not total. This is for each of the 21 million coins that exist. So that's a very, very high dollar amount total. Now, as this comes out, and people are very good at math and expectations and predictions, by the next 5 years, so by the end of 2025, we're still early 2021 here. By the end of 2025, most expectations for this are for it to be about $400,000. Now today, we're talking $59,000. If you go to $400,000 in the next 5 years, that's almost another 7 times the value that it is today. Now again, these are estimations and I can't guarantee this is what's going to happen. But what we are talking about is the most finite resource in the world, the first and probably the most demanded universal currency in the world, where regardless of where you are, and there are some laws that are coming out, India and Africa and some governments that are trying to regulate some usages within their countries, but this is the first time that a currency can be exchanged anywhere in the world and maintain as that currency. If you go to any other country, for example, if you go to England, okay, when you get to the airport, you can't buy stuff in dollars there. They don't operate in dollars. They have pounds. So you go to an exchange place and you give them your dollars, and they give you whatever the day's value of worth of pounds based on what it is that day, okay? With Bitcoin, there is no reverse exchange that has to happen. If I want to buy something from somebody in China and they are willing to accept Bitcoin, I just straight send them Bitcoin and they keep it as Bitcoin. And then they can pay their supplier in Bitcoin. So this is not only a finite resource, but it is the first time ever in the world that transactions can happen without an exchange of denomination. Holy cow. That allows the entire world to demand the exact same currency that cannot be controlled by anyone other than the people who have it. This is not regulated by banks. This is not a government-ran thing. This is not a hard piece of paper that you can just print more of and say that we just made more, which if you understand anything economics-wise, when you make more money, it devalues the other money. Carrie, my man, you understand what I'm going at. So today, we are talking about a little Bitcoin action, trying to explain to people what cryptocurrency is and the opportunity value that still exists even with the massive amount of growth that has happened over the last, decade, all right? So today we're running 59,000 per Bitcoin with the expectation of the end of the year running to over 100,000, and in the next 5 years, estimations are about $400,000. Okay, this is absolutely insane. First of all, there will never, ever, ever be an investment opportunity that will have returns on this scale that I can ever see happening. It is crazy, crazy going on right now. So I'm going to throw some other numbers at you just because I got a little bit more walking to do and I want to show you guys what's going on in my world here. I did some research, and the person that created this, the group, whoever created this, has been coined as Satoshi Nakamoto. The units are called Satoshis, all right? When this group created Bitcoin, they were the first person to start mining it. They mined out 1 million coins. Not $1 million, 1 million coins. In today's value, that's worth about $30 billion. That is just what they mined out initially. They don't make any more money off of this from everybody else owning this, but that is, out of 21 million, that's almost 5% of the existence of this coin that is held by one single person. And none of those tokens have ever been cashed out. They have never been tapped into. They are sitting in a holding somewhere. No one knows where their existence is. So what that means is there's actually only 20 million left for the rest of the world. And of that 20 million, 18.5, well, of the 21, 18.5 million have already been pulled out. That means there's only about 2.5 million left in existence, okay? And what's even crazier is because this is not a physical money. There is no piece of paper of Bitcoin. You can write Bitcoin on a piece of paper if you want, but it doesn't have any actual value like we give to our, dollars. Of the 18.5 million that have been mined out and are accessible, it is estimated that nearly 20% of those coins have either been destroyed, lost, or are inaccessible. If you put them, you can download them onto like a physical hard drive or transfer them somewhere onto, an online exchange company, and say you lose the password and you can no longer log into that account. They're gone. You cannot get access to them again. This is a privatized thing that puts you in full power and full responsibility for the ownership and management of this currency. This is not based on a bank. This is not based on a government entity. There is nobody coming to save you if you lose your hard drive. If somebody comes up to your house and they steal it from you, cops aren't going to do anything. They can't do anything. It's not in there is no control outside. It is on you 100%. But what this means is the accessibility of what is actually available for the world. 1 million is no longer accessible because of Satoshi, and that person or that group is in hiding. They have never exposed themselves. Of the rest, of the other, 18.5 million that have been mined out, we'll say 17.5, 20% has been lost. It's no longer even available or accessible. Holy crap, we're talking another 3.5 million. Yeah, Carrie will make it happen. He will get it for you. But that's another 3.5 million that are gone. What that means now is there is only about 14 million in existence so far, with only about another 2.5 million left to get. Now, man, math is my strong suit. I cannot even tell you how much the value of a single Bitcoin is going to be. But the estimations in the next 10 years are really pushing 7 figures per coin. That's over $1 million in value if you own one. Holy crap. There has never been a time where I've said, man, if I could turn this dollar into $1 million and thought it was actually possible. But there were times back in the late 2000s when you could get a Bitcoin for $1. And then it went to 10, and then it went to 100, and then it went to 1,000. Carrie, I'm not about exposing myself in a public sense on what my actual financial dollars are. But I will tell you, I have been around this long enough to accumulate some. Okay, I'll let you know that. I have some Bitcoin, all right? I also have a few other currencies because there's lots of other ones that all have their own value. But the opportunity is not gone. We still are at less than a 1% adoption worldwide. There's less than 1% of the world that has purchased Bitcoin. There's only a $1 trillion market cap, and there's $130 trillion that exist. So what that means is there is still time, there is still opportunity, and there is still expectation for growth in this industry. And so that's what I really wanted to come out here today, guys, is have you understand where this came from, what it is, and what the opportunity vehicle is that is still here, but that decreases in opportunity every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year. That opportunity gets smaller to be able to increase the value. So guys, if you really are looking for a way to get in on this Bitcoin stuff, now, there's a couple ways to do it. Number one, if you live in the United States, we can go into an app called Cash App, and this is what I'm using myself. Sorry, I just got to stop my timer here for my walk. Perfect. So you can go into my link is in the description. It is appcashbtc.com. Go through that page and it will link you right into downloading this app. And if you put $10 in there, they're actually going to give you $10 worth of free money. So yeah, Carrie, you got Cash App already. So this isn't something I'm making up in any way. So if you go through, there is a referral link there for me. So when you put in your $10, you're going to get an additional $10 that you can use. And I recommend to use that $10 to just buy some Bitcoin. I'm also going to get a referral. I'm going to get a $10 referral into my account. So it's a win-win for both of us. But you're going to get $10 worth of Bitcoin. Now, I will tell you, it's probably going to be 0.0001, 3 zeros. Let me see if I can get this in here. So I'm going to write in appcashbtc.com. appcashbtc.com. It's in the comments there. It's in the description. But if you guys hit that link, it's going to take you through and you will be able to get access to the place where I purchase my Bitcoin from. There is a fee, 2% fee or something like that. So depending on how much you put in, there is a processing fee. But once you get that, I highly recommend to hold on to it. And here's my take on the investing side of things. Number one, do not put any money into this that you cannot afford to lose. Don't put your rent money on this. Don't put your food bills on this. Don't put anything that you actually have to have as operational income. This is money that if you were able to just throw it in the garbage and it didn't change your world, you're going to be okay. Then it's cool to put it on this, all right? Again, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm just telling you what's possible and how I operate, all right? But secondly, the cash out period is something I have been questioned on a lot. Based on what I have, my son is excited. He's like, Dad, when are you getting rid of this? When are you cashing out? And my answer is always the same. When it's enough to change my world. And for me, $1,000 won't change my world. $10,000, not going to change my world. $100,000, still probably not going to change my world. Okay? So again, I'm not going to tell you how much I got. I'm not going to tell you what the value is or whatever. But these are the ideas and concepts that I'm utilizing in my own investment around this opportunity that is shortening every single day, because more is being mined out, the value is going up, and people are getting a hold of this in a way that is just humongous. So guys, if you're listening to this, I appreciate it. First of all, I've been talking for nearly an hour. This is something that opportunity is given to those who act quickly. And when you're first, you don't have to be that good. And with less than a 1% adoption rate worldwide, there's still a massive opportunity for this to grow into huge things. Okay? Mrs. Vicky, I appreciate you giving me some thumbs up. She knows what I'm talking about. That's a real investment lady. I don't know nothing about this. I'm just learning a little bit, and I want to share my experience with you guys. So if you're looking to get in on some of the Bitcoin thing, you can hit appcashbtc.com. It's in the description. It's in the comments. And it's still an opportunity for you to make some really, really big dollars if it's something that you get in at a proper time and you're able to hold it for long enough for that to be able to increase in value. So again, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope I didn't go over anybody's head. If you have questions about this, please feel free to hit me up. You can also do some internet research, because I did not make this stuff up. This is stuff that's out there for anybody to learn about. But I love being able to share the things that I'm excited about in the world. And possibility is something that, man, just gets me more excited than actual acquisition. The opportunity cost on this one is so big that if you wait, it goes down in value every single minute, every single day, every single hour. Okay? So I recommend, if you are going to take action on this, don't wait. Jump in now, hit that link, get yourself set up, and let me know if you have questions. I'll be here to support you in any way I can. Other than that, my battery's about to die. I appreciate you guys, and we will see you soon.